Today on Growing Bolder, if you found lots of money in your new home, would you give it back, even if you really needed it? Mike Leonard asked that very question and gets an inspiring answer. A 75-year-old pole vaulter with a bum knee and a bad case of altitude sickness somehow manages to win the national championship. How much is Growing Bolder responsible for your success today?
The Growing Bolder attitude is responsible for all of it.
And caregiving on ice. Bill Schaefer discovers a unique way to make a big difference in the lives of some special needs kids. These stories and more today on Growing Bolder. We're not made to withdraw from life. We're made to seize each moment and to value every breath. We're made to be bold, to take risks, and to help others. We are the most creative, fearless, passionate being that has ever walked the face of the earth. Don't identify with limitation. Embrace possibility. This is not the beginning of the end. This is the beginning of what's next. This is Growing Bolder. Hi, I'm Mark Middleton. Welcome to Growing Bolder, where we like to celebrate the small gestures that have a big impact. What would you do if you moved into a house and found a whole lot of money? And what if you really needed that money and you knew no one would know if you kept it? Today, Mike Leonard introduces us to a couple who found themselves in that very scenario.
Thank you, Mark. Joe and Kathy, a middle-aged Chicago couple I met about 10 years ago, are in my thoughts a lot because they stand as proof that the world is full of good people. We just don't hear about them, but we should.
They had just moved into this modest house in a working-class Chicago neighborhood when Joe DeGrief and his wife Kathy Ward suddenly found themselves pondering what might have been had they held on to the small fortune that was briefly in their grasp.
Just always thinking when we find something that needs to be fixed in the house, we're like,
which is like every other hour.
Yeah, what if? But it's just a lot of what ifs, not a second thought, just a what if.
Joe is a mechanic for American Airlines. Kathy is a 911 dispatcher at O'Hare, both working odd hours for the sake of their two small children.
He works midnight shift and I work afternoons, so that we don't need a babysitter.
What they could use, like most everybody, is financial security, which suddenly seemed possible just a few months ago after buying this house from the descendants of a deceased elderly woman who had lived here since the late 1940s. None of the woman's surviving family members wanted her time-worn furniture, so Joe and Kathy bought the house and everything inside. Some of it they kept, but much had to go, including the woman's ancient bed.
So I moved the mattress off the box springs, and there was a blue bag in between the mattress and the box springs.
A blue money bag. And in it,
$23,840.
Nobody besides themselves knew anything about it.
We kind of looked at each other and said we have to give the money back.
You didn't have to.
I guess legally we didn't have to, yes, but we had to. We had to.
It was funny because the night before we were saying, this is what needs to happen. We need new windows. It's like a ice box in here when the wind blows. We need new windows. We need new electric. So we were going over this in our, at our dinner table the night before.
Despite their financial needs, Kathy and Joe knew that the money was not meant for them. So they went about trying to find the woman's now retired son, but he wouldn't take their calls. Joe then got into his car, drove to the man's Chicago home, knocked on the door, and when he appeared, Joe told him about finding some money under the mattress. The fellow kind of scoffed, perhaps expecting $20 or $30, then asked, how much?
And I said, well, it's just a little over $23,800. And his eyes got big, his mouth dropped open, and I thought he was going to have a heart attack or pass out or something, but then his eyes teared up and he gave me a great big hug.
At St. John Cantius Catholic Church in the heart of Chicago, a young family sits in quiet reverence, counting their blessings while discounting any suggestion that their generous act makes them special in any way.
When pressed, most people will do the right thing.
And if somebody wants to do right by them with a gift or a gesture of appreciation for their good deed, how would Joe and Kathy feel about that? And what would they want?
Just do something for someone nice. You will get the opportunity. It might not be $24,000, but you will get an opportunity to do something for someone, probably today.
I can say with certainty that I will never find a pile of cash under a mattress. But as Kathy Ward mentioned in the story, I can pretty much guarantee that I will find every day an opportunity to do something nice for another person, a chance to give, even if it's just a compliment. I did a story in Nova Scotia a while back and learned of a term that the locals use to remind each other about the value of generosity.
Giver. Giver. Just as something that we would say in the bar, as a toast, Giver. Let's do our best. Let's put our best foot forward and make this the best situation we possibly can.
I think I'll add that to my vocabulary. Giver.
Thank you, Mike. We should all aspire to become givers because greed is not the path to prosperity. In fact, multiple studies have shown that unselfish people tend to have higher salaries in comparison to more selfish ones. But of course, being a giver is not really about financial prosperity. So remember that other research shows that unselfish people are healthier, happier, and they have better social relationships. So, how can we become better givers? Here's a few tips. Number one, start with gratitude. Think about the things in your life for which you're grateful. Sometimes the quickest way to become more of a giver is to spend more time thinking about what you already have and less time thinking about what you don't. Number two, volunteer. Volunteers get as much, if not more, out of helping others as those they help. It's impossible to help others without also helping yourself. And number three, make a donation. And don't say you can't afford to give, because no amount is too small, even $1 to a local charity. Nonprofits appreciate anything, and you'll feel good about giving, and you'll start thinking about giving more often. It was the great Hall of Fame basketball coach John Wooden who once said, "You can't live a perfect day without doing something for someone who will never be able to repay you." So make a commitment to become more of a giver.
Well, there's no better way to enrich your own life than by making a difference in someone else's. Caregiving is a great way to do just that. Giving just a bit of yourself can be all it takes to break the ice. And that's true at any age. A great program called Gliding Stars encourages special needs kids to go ice skating, something that could never happen without caregiving volunteers. Like any parent, when her son Benji was born, Tanya Morris's world changed forever. But what should have been the happiest day of her life was anything but. Her son was near death.
He's got a chromosome anomaly, 6 and 7, and there isn't a survival rate of it. So when he was born, they gave him 24 hours to live.
Tanya and her husband and Benji chose to fight day after day, year after year.
This year we'll be celebrating his 17th year. As he's gotten older, they've told us different things. He wouldn't be able to move his arms and legs. He would be a vegetable. I mean, we've gotten every gloom and doom you could think of, we've gotten. And if he fought, we fought, and that's just how we lived.
But there are many realities they've had to accept.
He's always with a caregiver. He will always be with a caregiver. He's never going to have that opportunity to have his own apartment, go out with his friends to the movies, do this, that, or the other like other 16-year-old kids. But one thing he does have is he's hanging out with other kids just like him on the ice.
Oh yeah, she said ice. It was a suggestion from the director of a program called Gliding Stars.
She saw Benji and she's like, "Have you ever thought about him ice skating?" And I looked at my husband and I'm like, what do these people think? Are they insane,
Her answer was no.
I honestly didn't want him on the ice. I thought he was gonna get hurt. I mean, I can't stand on skates. He can't stand. Why would I put him on skates?
But Tanya couldn't get the thought out of her mind.
I wanna be able to give Benji every opportunity. And I don't ever wanna have that regret of, I should have at least given him the chance.
Thanks to Gliding Stars, Benji got fitted with a pair of special skates and a special skating partner, a volunteer named Bridget Worth, who's all of 12 years old.
And when they placed her with him, my first thought was, are you serious? I'm like, you do understand Benji's 16, right? And they're like, oh yeah, he'll be fine. She knows what she's doing. And I'm like, she's 12. I barely know what I'm doing.
But something between Bridget and Benji clicked, and over the months, they formed an undeniable friendship.
Benji's really sweet, and you can pick up on like what he does to tell like how like he's feeling because he can't talk. So like if he's frustrated, he'll like have a mad look on him. You can just tell.
Ready to rock that ice? Yeah, sure.
Bridget, were you at first a little scared to help with kids with special needs?
A little bit because I didn't know what to expect, but now I'm not.
So what would you tell people like me and the rest of us who are always a little nervous?
Just try to always have a smile on your face and understand them.
I can't put into words how he makes me feel when Bridget takes him a full circle on that ice, and that smile that he has on his face, and he holds on to her arms, and he'll clap for her, and he's so excited, and he just loves it. He loves it. He loves going fast. He loves that he does the walking movement, which he wouldn't do if he wasn't on the ice.
Yeah.
And it's not just Bridget. Crystal Nuttall volunteers as well.
I think being out on the ice, the gliding around and feeling the wind in your face and just that freedom is amazing, especially if you're stuck in a wheelchair every day and you don't feel all of it, the movement.
I think volunteers don't realize how important their time is. I feel like without the volunteers here, we wouldn't be able to do this. We wouldn't have this. My son couldn't enjoy this.
Did you like that?
Yeah. If there was no Crystal and there was no Bridget, there'd be no Benji on the ice. I think volunteers are the heart and soul of this program, as well as the stars.
You want to go backwards? I think everybody has a right to feel happiness, and if I can help them find some sort of happiness, it makes me feel good.
The special needs world is a small world, but it is a big world too. You don't get a whole lot of support. You don't find other parents that get it. I mean, unless you're actively looking, and honestly, who has time for that when you have a child like Benji? You're basically alone. You're alienated from the world.
Good job. There you go.
But for an hour a week, Gliding Stars puts Benji and Tanya on a level playing field where everything is possible and everyone is family. What can we learn? That no matter what your limitations, life is about taking chances, making friends, and having adventures.
Give them that chance to be a person. Give them that chance to feel independent and feel freedom. That happiness is indescribable.
Don't you find a lot of people think that you're being a bad mom if you don't take him home and wrap him up in bubble wrap and protect him from everything?
I think wrapping him in bubble wrap makes me a bad mom. Exposing him to the world makes me the very best mom I could be.
Listen, at some point, we're probably all going to face some serious challenges in life. What Benji and the Gliding Stars show us is that no matter what the obstacles are, that doesn't mean you go hide away from the world. The art of caregiving means that you keep looking for new ways to find joy, beauty, and a sense of connection. With more on that, here's caregiving expert Teepa Snow. Can you help me understand a little bit about what it's like to be the person that has dementia, Alzheimer's?
Yeah. So how about we talk about caregiving? And your brain goes, well, I thought we already did that. And my brain says, no, we haven't had that conversation yet. And your brain is like, yeah, we did. No, we didn't. And so I set you up for failure because of the way I approach tasks. So I say, so tell me what you had for breakfast this morning, knowing full well you have immediate recall problems. How did you get here? Knowing full well you don't know how you get places. How you feeling about me?
Not good.
Yeah. How you feeling about yourself?
Not good.
And instead I go, wow. Now those glasses, do they work pretty well? Yeah. For close up and for far away? Listen, would you look at something for me? Now you're going to get up out of that chair and come with me to go look at something versus, Dad, you've been sitting in this chair all morning long. You have got to get up and do something. Well, could the problem be initiation?
Isn't it kind of interesting that everything you've said are things that every family should do anyway?
Oh.
Instead of nudge each other or hammer each other to do things, we need to find ways to encourage that make it something that both parties want to do.
So we are much better with each other if we take care of one another in a way we'd like to be supported. And it's the idea of support versus care. And becoming a partner in care versus giving care. Because if I give, you have to be willing to receive, versus if we care partner. So I want us to figure this out. How are we going to spend the next hour?
So that's a great point. It's understanding that it's two people. It's not a patient and somebody better than them. It's not a victim and a caregiver.
Because many times people living with dementia are feeling okay about what's going on until we get involved, or until somebody tells them no, or until something happens. And it's like, I don't need that to be all the time.
And we scare them. We make them feel useless. We poke a finger in the wound. We remind them of how messed up they are.
Now remember, I told you earlier on, I had to go, oh, you know what? I just realized I'm going to need to leave, and I hate it because I knew you were wanting me to stay a little longer. I promise I'll be back as soon as I can. I'm going to stop by the store. What would you like me to bring you? Now, what I chose to do is to try to front end the you're leaving and I don't know what I'm going to do with myself when you're gone.
This is hard. This is hard. We're not used to thinking about
No, we're not.
Like
we're used to having things come out of our mouth, and it's called bad habits. And in dementia care, you can't get away with bad habits and not have outcomes.
You're saying that the best way to be a good caregiver is to be a good person.
I'm so sorry. It's hard.
No wonder we struggle.
It works best if you can really live what you believe. And I believe if I'm going to support someone, I've got to look in the mirror at myself and say, would I like that? And it's like, not really. Okay, well then why should they like it? Okay, so that idea of doing unto others, I mean, it's truly my mantra is like, I've got to take that step back and go, okay, this isn't working. Let me figure out what my part of this is. Because it's almost, I'm contributing somehow.
And is it wrong to say that we can't lose sight of the fact that it is still mom or dad?
It is still, but I may be missing them so much that I'm actually missing them. They're right there and I can't see them. So I have another saying, and it is, when the disease gets this big, spend this much time with them so you can like them this much. Because if you try to spend this much time, all you'll see is their disease.
Wow.
So I have to give you permission to limit the amount of your life you're spending with them. Because if not, you can't find them in the midst of this condition that's getting extreme. And it's not for everybody. Not everybody is meant to be a care provider or a care partner with somebody with dementia. I'm good at it, but I have family members who are like, yeah, no. And it's like, cool. Can you do the financial management? Yeah, I'm great with that. Could you hook up the computer system so we can monitor? Yes. Then that's what I need from you. Thank you.
It seems that our instinct is to take someone who's disabled or declining and hide them away. We even do it to ourselves by avoiding certain situations, and it's usually because we're worried about what other people think. But as Growing Bolder contributor Dr. Jim Smith Jr. says, worrying about what others think, well, that's not good for anybody.
Well, a lot of us playing it small, not believing in ourselves, and fear judgment so much. We fear others' opinion. It's just their opinion. When does their opinion become your opinion, and why do you allow it? You get it wrong? So what? You get it right? So what? Just keep getting it.
But at a time when most of us are told to slow down, you're pushing us to ramp up.
Yeah. I direct, I star, I write the script for my movie. My movie is my life. The fans, the critics, everyone can say, that movie should be about, I say what the movie should be about. And then box office smash, or it doesn't do well. But at least I'm doing it my way.
We covered the National Senior Games in Albuquerque, and we made a point of stopping by the competition in the men's 75 and older pole vault, where our buddy Joe Johnston was competing. We knew that Joe was struggling with multiple health issues, and we wanted to try to inspire him. Ultimately, it was the other way around. The Masters Pole Vault competition is underway at the National Senior Games in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Joe Johnston is coming off a nagging injury and battling a bad case of altitude sickness. Pole vaulting isn't exactly what the doctor prescribed for his 75-year-old body.
I'm proud of the fact that I was able to get going, do something, because I wasn't sure I was even going to be able to get off the ground.
With little strength to spare, Johnston passes at the early heights that would have guaranteed him a medal. But Johnston is unique. He doesn't care if he medals. He really doesn't care if he wins, which he does a lot, but has no idea how often. How many national championships have you won?
I don't know.
I knew that answer before. I knew that answer before I asked the question. As competitors in the 75 to 79-year-old age group miss and are eliminated, Johnston has another chance to clear a bar and win a medal, but he continues to pass.
Can you pass me to the next bar?
You don't want to run through?
No, ma'am.
With most of his competition already out, Johnston finally makes his first attempt. And then his second. Suddenly, he's in familiar territory, competing in a major championship with 2 misses and without a single height cleared. Just the kind of situation he seems to not only enjoy, but excel in. When his remaining competition fails to clear the new height, Johnston surprises everyone by offering to pass to the next height. When the officials won't allow it, he has 3 chances to win. After 2 close misses, he's right back where he was a moment ago, right back where he seems to excel. Do or die, win or lose. With multiple passes, a handful of misses, and only 2 cleared bars, Joe Johnston wins another national championship. He might have been battling altitude sickness, but certainly not attitude sickness. Why do you pass to the third jump? Why do you put yourself in that position?
Well, because the other guys made the bar. No sense in me making that bar. I ain't going to win if I do, because I'd already missed one. See?
All right, well, then let me restate that question. Okay. Why were you willing to go up to 280 and go up higher than you had to?
And if I get up, 280 would be the same as 270. That much difference. No big deal.
All right, so tell me this. You've now won a national championship. No one knows how many, least of all you. How are you going to celebrate? What are you going to do?
I'm going to go see Mark Middleton make a speech down at the, what's the name of that thing?
Chemo Theater.
Chemo Theater, yes. And I've invited everybody I could see, because I said, hey, you got to get the attitude, man. The attitude is what it's all about.
Well, let me ask you about that then. How because I know it's not your God-given talent that's responsible for this. I know it's not your amazing competitive attitude that's responsible for this. I know it's not your technique and decades doing this that's responsible for this. How much is Growing Bolder responsible for your success today?
The Growing Bolder attitude is responsible for all of it. But you don't understand. I had some of that already. I was just glad I found somebody that's preaching it, man. It's like, yes. I couldn't put it in words. I didn't have the words, but I got the, what do you say? I drank the Kool-Aid, all right, way back when.
This is the national champion, Joe Johnston, Apopka, Florida. Bad number 1. Of the many things that I like about Joe Johnston is that he is 100% authentic Joe Johnston. He knows who he is, and he lives that truth. As a result, he is one very happy man. A little cantankerous at times, but still very happy. In their 1970 album Deja Vu, Crosby, Stills, and Nash sing about letting their freak flag fly. It's a metaphor for being who you are and not trying to conform to the expectations of others. We all have to let our freak flags fly as we grow older, because conforming to the current norm of aging will prevent us from becoming our true selves. There's nothing anywhere that encourages 75-year-olds to pole vault. Most of us over the years have had our weirdness, creativity, and individuality squeezed out. As we grow older, we need to nurture that which makes us unique. Fitting in isn't the goal. Pleasing others isn't the motivation. We all need to create our own definition of success and then go live it. If life is a masquerade, this is the time to remove our mask and let our true colors shine. That will open doors that we never knew existed. This is the time to let our freak flags fly, because that's growing bolder. We'll see you next time.
Information about all of the stories you've seen here today is available at growingbolder.com/TV. And you can go bold when you connect with the Growing Bolder community on Facebook and Instagram. Get Growing Bolder magazine 4 quarterly issues delivered to your home for $29.97 a year. A companion book, Growing Bolder by Mark Middleton, is available as well for $25 plus shipping and handling. Growing Bolder membership includes access to a robust online platform featuring tools, tips, and resources in personal finance, functional fitness, caregiving, brain health, entrepreneurism, and more. Available for $30 for 1 year. Order online at growingbolder.com/TV.